despite my parents being well off and they're retired, like I'm gonna have them spend $170. Like, get me out of here. I think the last time they spent that much money on me was a Nintendo 64 when I was, let's see, I was 10 when it came out, 9 or 10 when it came out. And that was like $300-400. That was insane. I was a child. I loved it, but no way I want them to spend that kind of money on me.
Why do you think that's a lot of money? I just bought my mom an iPad for $550.
That's nuts. Like, I'm thinking anywhere in the realms of $50-60. And, you know, I make a decent amount of money.
Maybe that's why you don't like your gifts, because they're all $50 to $60. They're shit gifts.
They're sentimental gifts, all right? They're sentimental gifts.
Sentimental gifts that are collecting dust in your shed.
I mean, I'm not giving away a,
Ladies and gentlemen,
$50
we
gift.
found the reason Shane doesn't want anything.
Cheezo Pizzo.
For you, anybody who's from Shane's family or friends or somebody who wants to get close to him, go buy him some cards. Just go send the man a deck of cards. Just let him play with that. He'll be your friend.
They're not called decks of cards. They're called booster boxes, blister packs. I do like vintage stuff. Family, if you're listening. Just kidding. Don't buy me that stuff. It's expensive.
Yes, it's $65.
So if they say, hey, Shane, it's great. I just want some time to think about it. Give me till next week. What I would use is the discovery that I used against them. So I said, when we first talked, you said you were looking for a virtual assistant in the first couple of weeks. Is that still the case? Well, yeah, it is. Okay. So wouldn't you agree that that would suffice for the extra cost? Well, yes. I just need to really think about this if this is going to be it. Now, this is where you transition.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin.
And Shane.
And today we have a few different topics. So today we're going to talk about gift giving. I like gift giving. I also like gift receiving. Shane has a different view on that. And then we're going to talk about the stupidity of New Year's resolutions and handling objections. So, Shane, why don't you go ahead, tell the audience what you think about giving gifts, receiving gifts, the premise of gifts.
So I think it's it's a mindset as well as everything in life is, as far as giving gifts and receiving gifts. Receiving gifts as a child is amazing, right? It's essentially the more the merrier at that point. Or if you're really excited about a certain something and you actually get it from your parents or loved ones or whoever it's going to be. As an adult, when you have, money, I feel like gift receiving is, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like getting gifts. It's usually something that I don't want, or it's, I don't need. It's not going to benefit my life in any way. I think the best gifts that I've ever received are, bottles of whiskey and cigars and something that I can use with a friend right then and there. Perfect gift. Great gift every single time. Outside of that, like with family, it's always something, as I say to my family every year, don't get me anything. And they always get me random stuff that I just don't use. It gets cobwebs in the corner in my garage, or I end up giving it away after a couple of years, whatever it may be. Gift giving is amazing. I don't think there is any better feeling for people who like receiving gifts, or if I know them very well, to give them a gift that I know that's going to benefit them, or that they're going to be happy about receiving. There's something about it. It just puts that smile on your face, and I understand on the opposite side of the spectrum. But for gift receiving, for me personally, not a fan. If it's my birthday and we eat dinner, you want to pick up the check, that's amazing. You want to buy me a beer, that's amazing. I'm not expecting anything. That's a perfect gift. So that's my thoughts on it.
Shane's the guy that ruins gift giving because you can't get him anything. You're like my dad. So freaking annoying buying something for my dad. So here's the thing. I actually do disagree with this, as I've been thinking about you speaking. While you were speaking, I was thinking. And I was like, I do disagree. Because on the other side, people want to be able to give you a gift. People want to be able to have that that feeling that they know they got you the perfect thing, and yet you ruin that by always buying something. So me, I always have things that I want and do not buy purposely. So when people ask me, what can I get you? Like my mom, for instance, for Christmas, she's like, what do you want for Christmas? Here's a list. There's like 2, 3 things on there. She could get me anything she wants. Same with my brother and my dad, whoever. So even though I could buy all of these things, I have some self control and restraint, and I will wait. I'll wait a damn year if it takes that long. I don't care. And if they don't get it for me, here's the thing. Then whatever they don't get for me, I just go buy myself anyway. So I think realistically, you could just start doing that. It's like you don't have to get everything immediately.
You just, I mean, you're a hypocrite. You just contradicted yourself. You said, I'll wait a damn year if I, don't get it. And then you said, if I don't get something, I'm going to buy it anyways.
Well, no. Hold on. I'm saying like I'll wait a year. Like for instance, I've had a cologne I've wanted for a few months, but my birthday passed, and now Christmas is coming up. So my mom was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I want this cologne." So that's been, what, July, August, September, October, November, December. It's like 6 months I've been waiting
So
for a cologne.
if you've been waiting for 6 months for this cologne, I
Yeah,
guess I just don't understand that concept. Like, if you want something, you're an adult, right? And you're independent, then buy it. Like, why do you have
right.
to wait for it to be a gift? Like, why do you have to wait for somebody else to purchase it for you?
I don't have to. It's because I know that, like, to your point, people got you things you don't want. You put them in the corner. They collect dust, and then you give them away.
Right.
They ultimately, even if you're a great faker, they ultimately know you don't really give a shit about it because they never see you use it and you've never used it.
Right.
And so they're constantly feeling like I never know what to get changed. But if I wait a few months for this cologne, my mom will feel happy because she's getting me something she knows I want and will use. I will appreciate it because I also wanted it and want to use it. And now we're all happy, as opposed to her sitting there being like, I don't know what to get you. And it's like, don't get me anything. And then she's going to get you something. I always hate when people don't get me anything. Oh, yeah, let me just not get you anything because that's ever going to happen.
To
Right?
be honest, that's what I'm saying though. Like, it's a mindset. Like, I really true just appreciate like the family getting together, enjoying a meal together. I don't need a gift to feel happy. Like, if you came, I swear to God, this is my exact answer, and it's truthful 100%. If you came to my house and we're brothers, and we've been brothers, obviously forever, and you didn't bring me a gift, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I wouldn't even think twice about getting you a gift. I'd be like, Vin's coming. Great. We're going to have a great time. I'm not going to get him a gift. He's not going to get me a gift. That's perfect. My brothers and I don't give each other gifts. I mean, I have 4 brothers. I don't get any of them gifts. Right? It's nice to have them come over. Now, if they get me a gift, great. Now I feel guilty that I didn't get them something. But guess what? That gift is something that I don't want, I don't need, or it's something that's like a gag gift or it's something that can be shared. However, I'm going to say this one however. I feel that if I just told my mom, who's going to get me something anyways, get me golf balls, get me tees, get me something like that I'm going to use, that'll be fine comparatively to don't get me anything.
Yeah. Like they want to know that they listen. I get your point. I don't think that you're wrong for thinking the way you do. I just look at it as to what you opened with. People love to have the feeling of giving. And actually, I just did my newsletter on that. I just actually did my newsletter recently on the power of presence, but also in the power of presence, I also did another one called the power of giving. And there is direct, actual research backed correlation of feelings of well being, feelings of happiness, feelings of joy, feelings of gratitude that elevate, which help people's level of happiness and emotional happiness more highly when you actually give something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's another part of it too. It's like to me, well, I don't want to deprive somebody of that. I mean, I know they're going to give me something anyway. And so I want them to be happy with the thing they're going to give me. I could go, listen, the cologne I want is $170. I could go get that today. I could go buy 100 bottles of that. It's just,
Right.
why bother? I know that I'm going to get it. I'm not in need of it now. Like,
That's the other thing too, though. Like, I'm not gonna want my mom to spend $170 on a gift despite my parents being well off and they're retired, like I'm gonna have them spend $170. Like, get me out of here. I think the last time they spent that much money on me was a Nintendo 64 when I was, let's see, I was 10 when it came out, 9 or 10 when it came out. And that was like $300-400. That was insane. I was a child. I loved it, but no way I want them to spend that kind of money on me.
Why do you think that's a lot of money? I just bought my mom an iPad for $550.
That's nuts.
But see, here's the thing. I disagree with you because do you know how happy she is? She lives on the iPad. She does everything from her iPad. That
Yeah,
is a great thing for her. And
it's
I
so cool.
know that I made that possible for her. And that's awesome. I don't care that I spent some money on it.
It's I think the general concept of money really depends on, you know, and I'm not saying this that I don't know, $170 is a lot of money for a present. Like I'm thinking anywhere in the realms of 50, $60. And, you know, I make a decent amount of money.
Maybe that's why you don't like your gifts because they're all $50 to $60. They're shit gifts.
They're sentimental gifts, all right? They're sentimental gifts.
Sentimental gifts that are collecting dust in your shed.
I mean, I'm not giving away a,
Ladies and gentlemen,
$50
we
gift.
found the reason Shane doesn't want anything.
Cheezo pizzo. That's terrible. All right, maybe I'm cheap. Maybe that's where it comes down to. Maybe I need to up my spending limit here. We'll talk to the wife. Let me see what she has to say. And I buy expensive things for, like my wife and my mom and other people like that, but it's not like purposeful for the holidays or for the birthday. Like I just spent $1,200 on my mom to come out for in January for a hotel room, but that's not like really a gift. She's like, "Hey, I want to come out," and I was like, "Let me get you a hotel, a suite, things like that," because I have two kids. I don't want her,
Yeah, of course.
staying here and just crying out loud. But I spent $1,200 on that. But that's not a gift. That's just my mom's coming out. I'm going to put her up somewhere nice and do something like that. But
Yeah,
like
I get
spending,
that.
I see. But the iPad makes sense to me, right? She's enjoying it. She uses it. That's a great gift. So
Yeah. My mom was using an iPad that was over 10 years old. She couldn't even go on Instagram anymore. She couldn't go on Facebook. She wasn't able to talk to her friends. She had no more space for her photos. Like she couldn't do anything on that. So to me, for this woman who has pretty much taken care of me up until I was like 23 or so when I finally moved out, like things like that are just no-brainers. And I think that's really the point of a gift, right? The gift is my mom wasn't going to go out and buy this iPad herself, and I knew that. So the point of the gift was I'm going to get you this iPad because you deserve it, because I want you to have it, because I think you need it. And that's another part of gift giving. It's not necessarily about even what people say they want. Like my mom didn't tell me she wanted a new iPad. I
right,
just knew she was using this crappy old iPad. And I think that's a part of the challenge of gift giving is like, do you really know the person? Like
right.
maybe you could just look at the person. They don't have to tell you what they want. You could just be like, I know what they need, I want to get them this because maybe I know they wouldn't buy this. Like my girlfriend who she doesn't buy nice clothes for herself. I just went out and bought nice clothes for her. She's here though, but things like that. So it's like I know she wouldn't do it, but I wanted to do it. So I think that's a point is kind of just looking at people and seeing who they are and seeing like, can I get them something that would really make them happy or excited? Like I think maybe a great gift for you, anybody who's from Shane's family or friends or somebody who wants to get close to him, go buy him some cards. Just go send the man a deck of cards. Just let him play with that. He'll be your friend.
They're not called decks of cards. They're called booster boxes, blister packs. I do like vintage stuff. Family, if you're listening, just kidding. Don't buy me that stuff. It's expensive.
Yes, it's $65.
And see, I mean, I don't want to dwell on this topic too much here because I know we got more to talk about here. But also, my wife's not a materialistic person. She actually prefers not getting gifts. She only has 10 pairs, 20 pairs of shoes, one purse that she's had for like 5 years. She's not addicted to wallets or, she's not a spender or anything like that. So she actually gets mad if I do get her something materialist. Like, why did you get me that? I don't need that. Or technology. She hates technology. I spend enough money for both of us, for the family. So some people are also like that too. That you try. She's even more infuriating than I am. So you try to get her something nice or do something nice for anniversary or whatever it may be. Nope. She likes experiences. And I think that's another topic, to go on to. I think that we will both agree that experiences or vacations is way better than any gift.
Listen, I mean, some people do that, right? Some people, even me and my girlfriend have had the conversations around, like, should we just not do gifts and do an experience? But now we also have a really young child, so it's like, well, what's the experience we're gonna do? I mean, forget that. Let's just go ahead. I'll get you some nice gifts. So
Right.
I think it just depends on what kind of life you're in. And to your point, you have a wife who doesn't really want much, which is great, ladies and gentlemen. That's actually the reason Shane is wealthy, not because his business does so successful. It's because his wife doesn't spend all of his money.
Thank you, Natalie. Appreciate you.
So why don't we go ahead? Let's transition here, and we will start looking at, Shane, I want you to jump into uh, handling objections, because one of the conversations that I was recently having with a client was, funny enough, they needed to pause for a few things going on. And then we just had a call, and she said, all right, I want to start back up again. When? Well, let's start up in January. Let's do it right after New Year's. And I know it's not supposed to be a New Year's resolution on her end, but I can't help but feel like it is almost a New Year's resolution. So, Shane, why don't you go ahead? First up, tell us what you think about New Year's resolutions. I think they're bullshit. And then let's go ahead and talk about objection handling.
So this piece is going to be a little bit longer, but I really want you guys to take some notes because I've built a very prosperous, successful company based off of the objection handling and my background in sales from this. And I can't obviously thank just myself. I got personally taught from Sam Ovens. I've actually also done Jeremy Miner and also my current coach. Who I don't want to mention by name yet, he'll probably come later on the road here, maybe as a special guest, also helps me in a way. So, New Year's resolutions, I actually agree with Vin. I know everybody's shocked if you listen to our previous podcast. We usually don't agree on everything, but
Yeah.
I do agree that New Year's resolutions, um, they don't matter, and the reason why is you should be focusing on improving your life and your business every single day. It shouldn't just be, it's a new year, it's a new beginning. No, you need to improve your lifestyle. Now, do we get distracted and, do things kind of get in the way sometimes in life and in business? Absolutely. I was just telling Ben before this that I haven't worked out in 3 weeks and my cheeks are getting puffier but I just had a newborn baby. She'll be 3 weeks this Wednesday. You know,
Mm.
it's an excuse. It's a distraction, absolutely. But I am exhausted. I am tired. So, but I plan on getting back to it this week actually. So I'm pretty pumped about that because I always feel great after that. So that's why I think it's just false advertisement there that it's New Year's resolutions because it should be a constant thing that you should be improving your business, and improving your overall life. Now, objection handling, when it comes to something like this and dealing with this type of objection, there's, a few different ways of handling it. What I always give the staple out is demonstrating or getting value, overcoming objection by building value and by discovery. So when I talk to somebody, I ask them, let's take this for an example, a follow up call. How have things been? How's the business been? You want to get back up? Okay, great. When are you looking to get that started? January. What's going to change between now and January? Well, I won't have my holidays here. I'm just kind of want to get through things. Okay. So in January, you're going to be less distracted because of the holidays. Is that right? Yes. What immediate focuses are you wanting to focus on in January? You're building that rapport right now. And it sucks is I'm kind of trying to do this in a business coach standard, but you want to use what they're saying against them. So if you haven't signed them up right then and there to start in January, that's your miss point right there. Um, Objections are just conversations. And that's what I train my sales reps on all the time, that it shouldn't be used as like a defensive measure. This is just what people say because they're not expecting you to reciprocate in any way. So I'll give you another example here for a couple more objection handlings, and then we'll bring it back here to Vin. So if they say, hey, Shane, it's great. I just want some time to think about it. Give me till next week. What I would use is the discovery that I used against them. So I said, when we first talked, you said you were looking for a virtual assistant in the first couple of weeks. Is that still the case? Well, yeah, it is. Okay. And the virtual assistant that we built you is going to be doing this, this, and this. Is that the VA that you're looking for? Absolutely. Okay. So what really do you need to think about? It sounds like we have the perfect fit. Now you're looking for the real objection to come out. Well, I just am afraid that, the pricing is just too much. Okay. I understand that pricing is a concern and you may not be able to afford a company like ours right now. What kind of budget are you working with? Oh, well, I don't know. It's just based off of your competitors. I just thought you're going to be a little bit cheaper. We're the cream of the crop. We're the Rolls Royce of virtual assistant agencies. Let me ask you, are you looking for quality in your virtual assistant? Are you looking for, the high end? Or do you want somebody the cheapest option? No, I always want quality. They're always going to say that they always want quality. Okay. So you want quality. This is going to be a representation of yourself, of your business that you're going to be bringing on. So wouldn't you agree that that would suffice for the extra cost? Well, yes. I just need to really think about this if this is going to be it. Now, this is where you transition. So it's okay. I presume you're going to be thinking about this decision tonight, right? Yes. Great. So instead of setting you up today, let's schedule a follow up for tomorrow. I have 10 and 2 available, which works best for you. So you see, hopefully here, you followed it along with this whole story. I'm controlling the entire conversation in a polite, talkative way. I'm not being forceful. I'm not being the car salesman. I'm essentially just leading the conversation and answering the objections. So that's the big takeaway here. Building value, having your discovery in the very beginning of the call so that's your value right there. So you can use that to their objection handling and then answer it there. So hopefully, Vin, you followed along too, but that was my long-winded objection handling little class.
Well, it ain't bad, but what if they say they're not free tomorrow?
So give me the reason. Let's play this out.
All right. Well, my schedule's actually pretty booked out tomorrow. I don't even know, what the rest of the week looks like. I might not even have time until next week. Can I let you know?
So then my schedule, obviously fills up pretty quickly, and we do have the holidays coming up. You said that this was an immediate need. This conversation is only going to be 10 to 15 minutes to decide if this is going to be a good fit for you and if you can go with a company like ours. So do you have 10 to 15 minutes on Wednesday? I do have 9, 1, and 4:30 available. Do you have 10 minutes for me?
Yeah,
So when you transition it to, it's a small time frame that it's me personally, right? It's almost in a relationship bond that they're going to say yes to. Okay, you know what, Vin, for you, I have 10 minutes. It should be a quick answer because that's what it is. If you put it into theory, it shouldn't be an hour long call, right? This is a yes or a no to get started. And what's going to happen? Vin's going to either send me an email and say, hey, Shane, you know what? I just can't afford this right now, but I'm hopeful that I can in a couple of weeks. Great. That's a no. Or he's going to come to the call. I'm going to answer more objections. I'm going to answer the concerns that he has, and I'm going to close him up. That's what you want in a sale, is a yes or a no. You don't want prolonged. You don't want maybes. And that's what I am best at, yeses and nos.
I would say if somebody's showing up to a second call, chances are they're probably interested.
Very.
I think that's a good indicator too. I think sometimes people have this thought is like, oh, we're getting on a second call, but I don't know. I mean, hell, I've gotten on like 4 to 5 calls before someone has signed up sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't want it to drag on like that, but hey, if it happens and if people keep showing up, they're looking for a reason for you to finish providing the value they're looking for. That's what I've come to find. Would you agree with that?
Um, I don't think I've ever jumped on more than 2 calls. And
All
I
right.
agree to the value, but I think that they're looking to be closed and they haven't been closed yet. So being more assertive in a very non-confrontational way is usually what I would recommend. That's why I said leading the conversation, transitioning your entire talk track with the client with a controlled manner. Then you told me you were looking for something like this, this, or this. Is that the case? Great. You told me that you were looking to get started right away. Is that still the case?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you said in 2 weeks, which is great. So what I'll do is I'll take your payment now. Our first session will start January 1st. We'll be ready to lock and load on the first week of January. How's that sound? What other excuses may come up? Great. Let's talk about this.
I like it. I've also been taught to do a uh, this is called, Shane, you might have heard of this before, go no go email. So go no go is like if you're following up with somebody, like to your point of, hey, let's start it up in 2 weeks or a month, right? And then after you get off the call with somebody or you finish having the conversation with that person, you just send a follow-up email basically going over what was in the call. Hey Shane, it was so great talking to you. I'm super excited you're going to start coaching with me. As you know, we scheduled our coaching session for January 8th. Please, before that time frame, if anything comes up and you need to reschedule or you need to move your session, just let me know ahead of time. Your payment is obviously due a week before. If I don't see payment come through and I haven't heard from you by that time, I'm going to give you a follow-up call just to make sure that everything is still on schedule. And if it's not the right time for you, obviously just let me know from there. And so what you're kind of doing is you're giving a bit of permission. You're also making sure that the person has the proper expectations. And if they don't follow through with what they're supposed to do, they should also expect you to follow up with them. So,
My personal opinion, I don't like any part of that. It's you're assuming the sale. All the objection handling is left via email. You know, for example, we take payment over the phone. Like that's how strong we are, and our prices range from 3,000 to 9,000 up front. So I, knowing me and my sales team, I'd much rather have you virtually face to face or via phone than being safe over an email. So if they're not completely sold, then all my focus is a brief overview and getting them back on the phone and closing them there. I don't want anything to do with trusting an email because now it's on their hands. Let's say that time frame comes up and it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to push this off a month, but love you. Whatever the excuses are going to come, it's done via email. No, I want it face to face. I want to see your face when you're telling me this because I'm going to find the true objection. If you can't afford it, great, no problem. If you give me a valid reason, which I don't really hear too often, of why you need to wait 2 months, then great. It's a no, which I'm totally fine with. Yeses and nos, but it's not going to be done over an email.
do you believe? Because I see I have an interesting thought on this. Is that there are differences between, obviously industries here, or do you believe that this is just universal between industries, that everybody should strive to do this in the industry?
I mean, why wouldn't you? Right? If I can close you over the phone, doesn't matter in what industry it's going to be, why wouldn't you close them right then and there over the phone? If you see a value in what you offer, and that's usually the first thing that I tell my sales guys, like, do you believe in our product? Do you believe that we're number one? Do you practice, do you believe what you practice and what you preach? And they all say yes because of our glowing reviews, because of our testimonials. Like they could stand true behind it. So if you truly believe that your service is the best, then why would you try to close them right then and there? There should be
Mm.
no reason for anything to wait to try to make it two, three, four calls. Now, there's probably other industries, that you may need to do a bit more discovery on, but you still should be able to close them right then and there.
Fair point. I think that anytime you're going to sell, especially a high ticket offer, people need to be sold, because the more time they have to think about a high ticket offer, the more time they have to justify why they shouldn't pay that high price point. So I can understand what you're saying in that.
Yeah, it's yeses and nos, guys. That's really what it needs to come down to. And there's not one objection that can't be overcome, right? It may need to do a follow up, and you don't need to be super aggressive, right? So if we want to spend a couple more minutes on talking about the objections, what they are, and how to overcome them, I'm fine with doing that. But there's not one objection there that can't be overcome.
I like it. And one last thing, people, before we wrap it up here, is that if somebody wants something, especially if they want to get on the phone with you and they want to have a conversation, they will make it a point to give you when they're available. They're not going to sit there and be like, Oh, I'd love to get on the phone with you. Sure, when are you free? Well, I'll let you know. That person, just don't waste your time with them. You're going to be chasing them. There's 0 point to do it. However, if somebody's like, hey, I'm so sorry, I have to cancel. I can't do it this time. Let's get it on this date or this time. You know that that person is potentially a hot lead. Always follow through with them. And lastly, on that point, is you want to make sure that you are properly setting people up so that you can give them the most value and they can have the access to get that value. If you're somebody who's trying to close a sale and you're impossible to get in touch with, like how Shane is like, hey, I'm free this time, this day, like that's what you want to do. I've met people that are like, I'm really not free, but hey, like let's schedule a week. It's like a week for me to talk to you. I already know what kind of service I'm going to get from you. So be reliable, especially when you're trying to close a sale.
Yeah, it's all about controlling the conversation. Doesn't mean that you have to talk, 80% of the time. It just means you have to control it. If you even have a talker on the same line, you have to acknowledge what they say and then bring them back to it. Um, I'm not offering coaching services at this time, but hopefully, those quick tips and tricks helped you guys out.
That's awesome. And maybe we'll do a little bit more too. We could go in depth on how people can control the conversation, because I feel like that could even be an episode that people might want to be listening to, because this episode is obviously focused on objection handling, which is great. But then how do you control the conversation to even get the objections in the first place? So that might be a good topic for next time, which brings us to the end of this episode to say, join us next time on the 1% podcast with your host. I'm Vin.
I'm Shane.
And we'll see you around. Happy freaking holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. At least because this episode should be posted before then. But see you then, everybody.
Bye, guys.